Welcome back to TVGP's Critical Misses. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpier.
Howdy. You always catch me right in the middle of doing something or whatever. You say, yep, we're going
That's
live.
right. Keep you on your
Finish
toes.
what you're doing.
Yeah, this episode we're going to be watching 1986's Aliens. This time we're going to be watching the director's cut of this, as recommended by Mackie, our Aliens consultant. And I'm interested to watch this one largely because of your comments in the previous episode about some people like the first one, some people like the second one, and that kind of can tell you a lot about someone's movie preferences.
Yeah, people love the first two movies, and whichever one is their favorite is the giveaway.
Okay. So you mentioned this one is your favorite of the two, right?
Correct. Of the four we're watching, this one is my favorite.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really curious about this one because we talked about stuff we knew from these movies in the first episode, and about half of them came from this one that I remembered, or that I sort of osmosis absorbed. And I'm curious to see, because I really liked the first one. I really liked the tension and the horror and the scares. I'm curious to see if this one, assuming it's a different type of movie, how I like this one over the first one.
Yeah. Well, we already know some things about this movie, as you mentioned. Well, let me just shimmy out the way a little bit here.
For the video version, the Wayland Yutani Corp display you have back there.
Also, this t-shirt I'm wearing is also related to the movie.
Okay.
And I have more props, so I'm just not going to show them just yet.
Okay.
But my personal favorite is
a plush facehugger.
Yes. Look at the goofy smile on him.
Little guy's pretty cute. It looks like a Dragon Quest monster.
He has been turned into a cat toy. Weirdly enough, none of the cats like him.
Right. I guess that makes sense.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Weird.
Well, what are we expecting to see in this movie?
I think for me, now that we sort of ripped the Band-Aid off on the alien in the first movie, the Xenomorph, probably see more of that. Like we'll probably see better shots of it. I'm sort of expecting it to be a little bit more of an action-y movie as opposed to a horror movie.
Do we know the director?
No.
This is a James Cameron joint.
Interesting. Okay.
James Cameron, famous for Terminator 2. James Cameron, famous for Avatar.
Right. Interesting. Is it this? So this has got to be a pretty early movie for him then.
Yes, I'm pretty sure this was. I think he literally went straight from T2 to this.
Oh wow.
I think, which I can't remember if he did the first Terminator.
I don't remember.
But the dude has a habit of making pretty good sequels.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm looking.
For anyone listening, I'm recovering from my second COVID shot, so I'm a little bit more lower energy than normal here. Feel pretty knocked down.
He wrote the first Terminator. He didn't direct it.
Oh, okay.
He did the screenplay for Rambo: First Blood Part 2.
Oh, geez.
Another movie series with an action sequel kind of thing compared to the first one. Then he did this. Then he did Terminator 2.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like, the dude has done a lot. Like,
yeah.
I would give him credit where it's due. There is a lot he has done.
Yeah.
So some behind the scenes stuff here, stuff that's not going to really matter too much towards the actual movie itself. Who do we think is in this movie? Do we know who is in this movie?
I mean, at the very least, Sigourney Weaver is going to be in it, because I feel like that's the through line for all of them. Other than that, I have no idea.
So, Sigourney Weaver is in this movie. This is where my fun piece of trivia comes in. while writing the movie and putting the script together, they gave the script to James Cameron, who went about doing the screenplay and making sure everything was up to snuff, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The script he had called for Ripley.
Right.
At no point did they ever confirm with Ripley or with Sigourney Weaver that she was going to come back for this movie.
Ah, it's an important
So
question.
they went through all of the casting, all of the stage setup, all of everything like that before confirming that Sigourney Weaver was going to be in the movie.
Great.
And to her credit, she became the first woman to get a paycheck of $1 million because they're idiots.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And she deserves it.
Yeah,
Even
for
after
real.
the first movie, she deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Bill Paxton is in this.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This will be a who's who of
Yeah.
who is in this. I'm only going to tell you about Bill Paxton because I love Bill Paxton. Take it from us too soon. Yeah, there's a lot going on in here. So, tell me what you can glean from this movie based on the title alone.
I feel like the selling point of putting the S on the end is, yo, there's a bunch of xenomorphs this time. I feel like that's the easiest marketing campaign you can have, where it's like, yeah, it's a sequel to Aliens called Aliens. It's just like, oh, hell yeah. All right.
Uh-huh.
So there's probably going to be a whole grip. It's probably not just going to be two. It's probably just going to be like a whole grip of xenomorphs.
Mm-hmm. So there is some taglines for this. This time it's war was the primary one that I
Oh
saw.
boy.
So that might give you a little inkling of what we're getting into here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Aliens,
Yeah.
directed by James Cameron. He absolutely despised the English working crew because they filmed this in the same location, the same studio from the first one.
Right.
And oh boy, did James Cameron not like the English people. It's like,
oh
it's tea time. Wait, what? What?
I'm sorry, what?
Uh-huh.
Man. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. There was a lot of drama around the making of this movie.
Yeah.
Not as much as the next movie, but still a lot.
Yeah, even I know that there's plenty of drama around Alien 3. Yeah, other than that, I feel like I don't have a lot of expectations. I'm a little bit worried, maybe is too strong of a word. I guess I'm kind of curious about how far it strays from the kind of straight sci-fi horror roots of the first one. And whether or not I like that.
Yeah. Interesting. See, there's so much I love about this movie. And something I'll probably talk about before in part one of the next one. The first movie and this movie are responsible for the Aliens Extended Universe.
Oh, okay.
Which is the 15 novels I have in the other room, all based around alternative stories in the Alien universe.
Right.
And some of them are golden.
I've heard some of them are really good, yeah.
You probably had that from me, to be honest.
Probably, yeah. All right, any final thoughts here before we go watch this?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. There's some stuff I'd like to talk about. Like, obviously, the themes are different in this movie, as we gleaned from Mackie's email last time.
Right.
The storytelling is done differently, and I will give James Cameron credit where it's due. I've seen snippets of the screenplay for this movie, and screenplay gets across more than the actual movie does, which maybe is his failing as a director and a skill as a screenwriter. But he does a really cool trick at the beginning of this, where his first 5 or 6 shots, he shoots it like whatever the guy is from the last movie. What is his name?
Ridley Scott.
Yes, he shoots the first 5 or 6 shots like Ridley Scott shoots.
Oh, interesting.
And then transitions over into his style.
That's interesting. Okay.
Which is a really nice little nod to, thanks Ridley, you did a great job here. Now
pass
I'm
the
going to
baton.
put my spin on it.
Right. Interesting. All right. Well, on that note, let's go watch the movie. And we're back. We have watched a movie with more than one xenomorph in it, also known as aliens. Officially referred to as a xenomorph in this movie, which tickled me quite a bit.
Yep.
But we'll get there. We probably have a lot to talk about with this one, so let's just dive right into it. My first comment here in my notes was 57 years?
Like,
wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, actually, before we even get to that thing, I like the opening of the shuttle, the scene.
Yes. With like
with
the welding robot, just like bzzz, yeah. That
Yeah.
to me that felt like a real James Cameron shot, where it's like, yeah, you can. I'm gonna put some sparks on the screen. Like I don't know if that's grounded in anything, but
So what you think James Cameron is the sparks to J.J. Abrams' lens flare?
100%, yeah. That's like,
Which is
man,
ironic because the ending of Terminator 1 and 2 take place in foundries.
right.
Full of sparks.
A lot of chains, a lot of sparks. Got a bunch of
Uh-huh.
stuff. Those are two movies I have seen, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, 57 years, gets rescued. Of course, like the first dude she runs into is Paul Reiser. Paul Reiser is in this movie?
Real quick, sorry, I've just got to go back because every
Yeah.
single time I see the opening of this movie,
Mhm.
what's the name of the actor from Fringe, the lead guy? Not the dad, who everybody knows and loves, but the lead guy. He was in Dawson's Creek. He was Charlie in The Mighty Ducks, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, gosh, I don't remember.
But you know the guy's face.
Yeah.
Because the dude who whips off his face mask and is like, well, there goes our salvage boys, looks exactly like him and sounds exactly like him
That's
too.
true.
And I'm always like, dude, you've got to be like a great-grandfather or something of that
Yeah.
kid. Because...
Or a time traveler of some sort.
Yeah, or time traveler.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
genuinely surprised that Paul Reiser is in here. You know, I'm a big fan of the sitcom Mad About You, and he's the lead in that, and it's like a fairly traditional like rom-com sitcom. So seeing him in space here, telling Ripley that, hey, you've been asleep for 57 years. I got bad news about your kid, is a real whiplash here. So,
which, speaking of fun, I will just throw fun facts throughout.
Sure.
The picture of her kid is a picture of Sigourney Weaver's mother.
Oh, great. That's good. That's good. I really like... So, number one, very happy to see Jonesy's back. Very interested to see... I like that this movie deals with Ripley understandably and obviously affected by the events from the previous movie, where she very early has that nightmare of her having the chest burster pop on out.
Like the flashback to waking up in the hospital, but it's actually a nightmare flashback. Like that's
and like see that through line kind of carried through the rest of the movie. I thought was pretty interesting. I like that the company very clearly doesn't care about her experiences on whatever they call the planet that I don't know what they
LV-426 is the designation.
Yeah. They keep referring it to that, and they're like, yeah, you saw aliens. Yeah, sure. Anywho's, you're not a pilot anymore, so peace, I guess.
I love that whole company like boardroom meeting where they're just 100% ripping it to bits and being like, look, you, from what we could tell, with no evidence, you blew up like 20 billion units of mining material.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, and I like that the one guy is like, well, that doesn't take into account all the raw material on there. I was like, yeah, of course it doesn't. Shut up, nerd. And one thing that I think is really interesting is where she's talking to kind of the head guy about like, what do you mean they're back on that place? They've been back for a while. I think that's a really interesting scene because I feel like if you make this movie in 2021,
Mhm.
the back and forth goes a lot differently, where she's more surprised about 60 to 70 families. And I think in 2021, the cut to black moment is like Ripley says, like 67 families, what are they doing there? And he goes, well, terraforming, of course. And cut to black. Like, you don't have to explain terraforming anymore.
Yes.
It's just like, well, they're terraforming, of course. And the whole audience goes, no. So I
Yeah.
thought seeing them have to explain some of that stuff makes sense. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like, oh my God, there's 60, 70 families. It's like, well, that's not, I'm concerned about that, but I'm a little more concerned about the whole terraforming thing at this point.
Mhm. Like, I like the fact that they're referred to as shake and bake colonies
Yeah,
as well.
that's a really great term, dude. Like, that's really, oh, it's so good.
It's
And I
like, yeah,
like,
we throw a bunch of families down. They're all technically experienced in one way or the other, have different fields of expertise,
yep,
and then obviously, it's not implicitly stated, but obviously the deal is these guys go there when that planet is terraformed. They get their crop of land.
yeah, exactly, right. Yeah, you work on it while it's sort of a nightmare hellscape, and then you kind of you get a little plot of
Your
land for
kids,
sticking it out.
your kids basically inherit what you earn.
Right. Yeah, because they even say like, oh, it takes a couple of decades to work. No big deal. Just like, oh,
Uh-huh.
okay, sure. Um, I do really like that everybody's like, hey, things are going wrong on the planet. Ripley, you're going to come with us, right? And she's like, double middle fingers, like, no, peace. Just like,
This, by the way, we just jumped over part of the director's cut, which
yeah, the
is
part I really like.
yes, the entire scene where you get introduced to Newt for the first time.
Yep, Newt and her
Uh,
family. Uh, when they cut to that planet, or is it a planet or an asteroid or
it's a planet.
okay, when they cut to the planet and that wind noise kicks back up, I'm like, no, no, you
Well,
fools! It's just like there's that
no.
immediate like, ooh, oh,
And fun fact, the dude who's obviously in charge of the terraforming operations there, the big set dude,
yeah, the
that's the
super
captain
bored
from
dude.
Red Dwarf.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, like I really liked his performance of like, I don't ask questions. We are here to terraform this place. If they're gonna go find something, they can go find it. All right, get the
As
kids
far as
out of
I'm
here.
concerned, it's theirs
Yep.
because it takes 2 weeks to get a response here, and if we ask them why, the answer takes 2 weeks to come back, and the answer is always don't ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's this
good.
very like bureaucratic exhaustion where it's just like, I'm not even gonna ask. I know what the answer is. I don't care. If they want to investigate it, go crazy. They can have it. Um.
Uh-huh. And yeah, we meet Newt's mum, dad, and brother.
Yep.
Not long for this world.
Nope. Unsurprisingly, not long for this world. Um. Yeah, I like that they very quickly are like, yeah, something seems to have gone wrong on that planet. Maybe it's the aliens. Maybe it's the xenomorphs that Ripley's been, you know, bandying on about for quite a while. Well, she'll come with us. No big deal. And Ripley's like, no. See you later.
Uh-huh.
Me and Jonesy are staying here. Dummies. Um,
Yup. And you get introduced to what I can't remember his bloody name now. Lieutenant Gorman.
yes,
Uh,
the super experienced Lieutenant Gorman.
yes, yeah, we'll definitely get into that. What do you
Yeah.
think of the future tech, by the way? Like the rainforest wall and stuff like that. Like considering this is a 1986 movie.
Yeah, when she like turned off that rainforest giant LED screen, I was just like, okay, how did you do that? Like nowadays, it'd just be like, I need like a 200-inch screen. It's an LED, whatever. But I'm looking at this like, how did? Okay, that was really impressive, even in 2021. Like I'm real interested in how you did that.
Yeah, and like I love the fact that like well, number one, she's not back on Earth. She's on Gateway Station, which I
Yep.
love, which is a space station orbiting Earth. But number two, like it's just enough to hint at future tech. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing, there's no teleporters, there's nothing like that. But you got like that wall, the digital
Yep.
photo that's on like a floppy piece of paper, essentially.
Yep.
Like
Yeah, she has her like little voice call key card that she puts in to call Paul Reiser here in a couple minutes. Like, there's all this cool, like, it's still like the green screen terminals and stuff. And later when we get into the sort of artillery sentry things, like those screens are a little bit better than they were in the previous movie for sort of obvious practical reasons. But yeah, there's all that stuff where I'm kind of like, all right, yeah, like we're doing the cool world building stuff that I really like.
Yeah, the biggest difference in the future seems to be that all the business guys have bigger collars and wider sleeves.
Yes, yeah, yeah. They got some real popped collar business stuff. Um, yeah, she finds out that her daughter is understandably not around anymore since her 11th birthday was 57 years ago. So,
Oh, and it's even worse because she doesn't have kids.
right, right.
So there's no family line to return to. No,
Yeah,
oh, I'm going to go meet my granddaughter or my grandson. No.
yeah. Paul
You could
Reiser's
just
just got bad news.
uh-huh. Which
Yeah,
can we credit Sigourney Weaver here for knocking it out the park
she killed
again
it again.
and again.
Yeah,
Like,
she's so good. There's a line later where she's yelling at someone where she's like, I need you to calm down. I need you to find these plans because I'm sick of your BS. It's like, yeah, man, tell him.
yeah,
You don't have
she's
time for this.
yelling
There are
out
aliens outside.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
Hudson. Which again, we'll get to those guys soon enough.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so she eventually agrees to go to the planet, and
Because
her,
uh,
yeah, because of the nightmare. She, of course, leaves the little poop head Jonesy behind, which is a very cat person line, which I thought was really
yeah.
great. Where it's like, "I love you very much, and you're terrible. You're obviously staying here." Um,
Oh, oh, I forgot. Like when we got introduced to Gorman, we also got introduced to the concept of the Colonial Marines,
yeah,
who in this sequence we meet.
yeah. I don't like this stuff. So, okay, here's the thing about me that people need to know, sort of for this series ongoing. I don't like military stuff. I don't like
Oh,
war stuff. I don't like war games or books or movies or anything. I don't like the Colonial Marines for a really long time because so I like the world building that they're doing, where they're sort of blasé about like another bug hunt. All right, come on, like
oh.
oh,
There
okay,
is a
this
reason for this, by the way,
yeah
because this specific group of Marines have been together for so long and done so many missions, and they're so successful
yeah
that the rules are bent for them, which
yeah yeah
makes Gorman a problem. But we'll get there.
right, and like I half of me appreciates them having this like real blasé attitude about like, all right, it's just another day at the office killing a whole bunch of aliens. Like, I think that's a cool piece of world building where it's like this is the strike team you send in when a shake and bake has gone wrong, and maybe that's kind of what they do. But this the banter back and forth, like the military banter back and forth, is the stuff that I really don't like. I like the team when things go south later on and they shut that stuff down, but like this like military bro back and forth stuff is not the stuff I like. It's really well done, like from from that perspective. I think it's really successful, but it's just the sort of stuff I watch where I'm like, I don't like this, I don't like any of this, I don't like any of you. I get what you're doing, I don't like it.
That's one of the reasons why I love it. Is because
Okay,
you're not supposed to like the Marines at first. You are
sure,
supposed to think they are full of themselves,
yeah,
which they are,
yeah,
and
they're
maybe
good
to
at what they
different.
do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
But yeah, you like get introduced to them, and then Gorman doesn't know anybody's names. He
yeah,
confuses
yeah,
he confuses Hudson and Hicks. Which,
yeah,
yeah, let's talk about the Marines, shall we? Like Michael
sure,
Biehn, Corporal Hicks.
yep,
Like Michael Biehn is one of those guys. The
yep,
only real leads I've ever seen him in. Two James Cameron movies. This and Terminator.
yeah, yeah.
Michael Biehn is whatever the guy's name is in Terminator, the one who
I don't
gets sent
remember.
back.
It's been a while.
You've got Bill Paxton,
Yeah,
always.
man, Paxton, who I didn't recognize for a real long time because he is a baby in this movie. He
Uh-huh.
does great.
Al Matthews is Sergeant Apone, who in my I think Hudson, which is Paxton, and Apone, which is Al Matthews,
Yep.
they steal the show in this. Everyone
Yeah.
else is kind of quiet, but
Upon like being the super stereotypical like cigar chewing captain that's like, I don't like any of you and I'm sick of your business, but you get results.
yeah,
That
like when
that sort of thing.
Gorman like gets the names wrong, and like Hudson's like, "That's Hicks. I'm a
Right.
Hudson. I have a question. How can I get out of this chicken poop outfit?"
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
Gorman cracks the whip down and gives them too much work to do in too short of a time.
Yeah.
And then Apone with that cigar in his mouth is just like, Hudson, get here, right
Yeah.
now. Like,
My favorite part about Apone is as soon as he comes out of like the cryopod here in a little bit, the very first thing he does is pick up his cigar and put it right in his mouth. And it's like, all right, yeah, cool. That's
mhm.
that's a good little piece of work. I like it.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of the Marines are those people kind of
Yep.
thing. Like, no real huge names really, except for those
You
ones.
got the cool muscly
But
lady that I like.
yes, Jeanette Goldstein, who is Vasquez,
Yeah, she's
who
cool.
probably my second favorite Marine after Hudson.
Yeah. She's cool. I think she did. I like her in this role a lot. I think she's
Like,
pretty great.
we struggle in 2021 to have strong female characters. We do, like, period.
Hmm.
Like, the 90s was a complete vacuum for them, and so was the 2000s, arguably.
Sure, yeah.
We're just about getting there now with some films, but
Hmm.
then you've got this 1986,
Yeah.
and you've got Sigourney Weaver knocking it out of the park,
Yep.
and you've got Jeanette Goldstein being arguably two of the greatest women of sci-fi.
Yeah.
Because, by the way, while we're doing this, like, wake up thing from the chambers, like everybody gets out of bed. Again, I love the hypersleep chambers
Yeah,
scenes.
they're really good.
I love, like, I know you don't like the military banter, but I love them all waking up, getting stretched, getting prepped up. Hudson
Hmm.
being a smart ass again, being like,
Yep.
like Apon's like, would you like me to get you slippers? And he's like, gee, would you, Sarge?
Yeah.
Like,
There's some
and then
good back and forth there.
yeah, and then immediately like Vasquez starts doing the reverse like chin ups,
Yep. I just woke
and
up. Let's work out a little here.
like Hudson's like, hey Vasquez, have you ever been mistaken for a man? And she goes, no. Have you? It's
Yep.
one of the best responses in
Yep.
this movie. Period.
It's a
And
real good and like
so good.
that stuff continues into the this kind of lunch dinner scene that they have where we do the famous knife game and we find out that Bishop is a synthetic, which uh,
Yes, Lance Henriksen is
yeah, who
finally in the series.
really does a good job in this one. But I like that understandably, Ripley freaks out about that too. And I like that her and Paul Reiser have a conversation about like, oh, that was an old model. They were always, a little bit weird. That was quite a while ago. And it's like,
Yeah, wasn't a Weyland-Yutani model. That was a Cyberdyne in this
yeah,
movie.
those had problems. One of those older models. I thought that was a nice little.
Always wear a little bit twitchy, is the phrase.
Yeah, it's such a good line. Sort of flying through some of this stuff, they get down, they do a sweep, they find nothing, sort of set up their,
Find a
uh,
hamster. Thank you very
yeah, they,
much.
yeah, they find a hamster. They sort of set up their base of operations. Pretty quickly, they find, I think they find Newt before they find the colonists. I don't.
Yes,
Yeah,
because they find that they're doing the look and they find all the barricades and the acid blood burns
yeah.
and we
Things
finally
have
get
happened.
yes,
Yeah.
we finally get the proper motion tracker, that click
Yep.
click click one,
Yep.
which that is a noise famous throughout the Alien franchise.
Yeah. You find Newt, who is largely not going to do anything for a little bit here. I like that. One of my favorite scenes in this whole movie is when they go looking for the colonists, and oh boy, do they find them. Um, Two specific interesting things here. One, when I was very young, the Duke Nukem 3D demo on PC came out, and there's a
Mhm.
super hidden room in the very first level that had like a woman in green goo that kept whispering "kill me," and as a kid I was just like, okay, I'm not entirely
And now you get
sure
that
with this.
reference.
And as soon as that woman was like, "kill me," and I was like, "Oh my god, that's where it, yeah, all right, now it comes up together." An R-rated movie I definitely would not have seen in like 1992. Okay, it's all coming together.
Yeah,
Seeing
but you were
all
also
of
playing an R-rated game in
oh for
1992.
sure, thankfully before ratings. Heyo. I really love them like investigating, and then all of a sudden just like the alien tunnels are there, and I'm like, oh no.
Mhm.
there everybody is.
So, ready for some world building here.
Mm-hmm.
They create those tunnels by secretions,
Great. I played
which is
StarCraft.
which is what I think. I haven't researched it at all, but that's what I think the alien in the shuttle was originally doing when it's
Oh
hiding
sure.
within the pipes. Was it was starting to try and build a nest?
Right. I really like one of my favorite shots in this movie is when you see the aliens start like peeling off of the walls silently. That's the stuff I love about the Xenomorphs. Is just this like this silent hunter sort of thing where you just see all of them kind of peeling themselves off the walls. It's just like, all right,
Because
everything's gonna go wrong for you guys, but this looks dope.
yeah, they blend so well, and we also missed out with Ripley being more intelligent than everybody in the room by saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, you guys are near a thermonuclear reactor right now. Am I right in
What sort of
saying that?"
bullets you got there, Gorman? What are you doing,
Uh-huh.
man? I like that she has to like prompt
Ridiculous.
him 3 or 4 times to be like, and bullets do what? And nuclear reactors exploding do what? And he's just like, oh
Mhm.
god. And
I
of
love
course,
the fact that everyone stows their main weapons away, those carbines with the 10 millimeters.
yep,
You've got Hicks has got a shotgun,
yep,
and then Drake, which we haven't talked about this, which I think we should. Drake with the secret hidden like gas compressor for the two
yep,
smart guns.
yep.
Him and Vasquez get themselves all set up, so they can use their guns. Which
Hmm.
can we talk about the smart guns?
They're pretty cool. All of their weapons are all really cool.
And I love the fact that it's Drake, this huge tower dude, and Vasquez are the two people who are using the smart guns, which
Yep.
is, fun fact, that's a steady cam mount that they're using.
It looked familiar. I was like, this just looks like they made a Steadicam mounted to a gun. That's smart.
Yep, it's exactly what it is. And those guns are called smart guns
Mm-hmm.
because basically it allows you to track movement and things like that to
Right.
actually shoot things.
Yeah.
And I love those guns. And the fact that Vasquez says adios down the side of it is just,
Yep.
yes.
Yeah. It's really good. Um, this is sort of the point where the movie turns for me, in kind of a more positive way. I think it mirrors a lot of what made the first movie so successful throughout the first half of it. This is like a 2 hour and 38 minute long movie.
I
And I
think the
think
original cut, by the way, is like 2 hours.
yeah. Um, I think the first half of it is really solid. It is, let's give everybody a good reason why they're going there, especially Ripley. Let's get Ripley back to sort of fighting shape. Let's learn. We skipped over this. Let's learn about what her job was and why she knows how to pilot a power loader.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
totally forgot about that
a
scene.
cool
I
scene
can
of her just
pilot
being like, "Where do you want
loaders.
this?" It's just like, yeah, all right, cool. You're
A12, please, and
yeah,
then like
good at
opponent
everything.
Hicks are just laughing to themselves. It's so
Yeah.
good.
This is
Oh,
sort of where
what did you think of the power loader? Did you know what was coming with that later in the movie? Because
oh, for
that's
sure. Yeah, that's one of those, like, that's one of those. We'll hit it here because we're going to start seeing more than 50% of the lines in this movie are famous lines at this point.
Mhm.
And the power loader is sort of, as soon as I saw it, I was like, it's this one. Okay, cool. This is the power loader movie. All right. Um, this is sort of where the movie turns for me in a more positive way, where they are on a large scale being hunted by the aliens. Um,
Mhm.
I like I like that the aliens are. It takes them a long time to figure out, but they figure out that the aliens aren't just dumb animals. They are.
Yep.
They have some level of pretty solid intelligence where it's like, all right, you guys are gonna plug up all these hallways. Cool, I'm gonna go this other way. I'm gonna go above. I'm gonna go below. You have these two actually fairly cool machine gun sentries sitting down. We're not gonna keep throwing dozens of us at them. We're clearly not getting through here. Um,
Yeah.
I like that.
We did miss the APC escape scene, which number one, I love the music in this movie. Like
Yes.
it's so good. But that APC escape scene where Gorman freezes
Yep.
and Ripley's just like, God
Ripley's
damn
just
it,
like, get the
Gorman.
hell out of the way.
And she just drives that APC through a wall.
Yep. Yeah, that APC is pretty cool. That feels like a
Uh-huh.
feels like a space thing.
Yeah, because
in a
they
pretty
pull the APC off, they call for the dust off from
Yep.
the dropship, which again, amazing design on that dropship.
Yeah, dropship is pretty cool.
And then Spunkmeyer makes a mistake,
Yep.
and the
Crashes.
dropship goes boom boom,
Mm-hmm.
and then we get game over, man.
Yeah, probably one of the most famous lines, one of the more famous lines here from the movie. I have a selection of famous lines here at the end.
Yeah,
Um,
followed almost immediately by one of the other ones.
yeah, they mostly come out at night, mostly. Um,
Yes,
yeah, along with I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. There's like rapid fire, like all three of those were just like, oh, okay, that they all came right from here. Okay, cool.
yeah, they set up their defenses. They're trying to figure out a way off planet.
Yep,
Those
17
smart.
days is when they will recover. They will get recovered.
Did you laugh at that point? Because I kind of
Yeah,
laughed.
well, like it should be here in about 17 days. I was like, yeah, and then someone's like, we're not gonna last 17 minutes, man. It's just like,
That's
yep,
Hudson. It's
yeah,
always Hudson.
yeah.
Anytime
It's
anyone
just like,
freaks out, it's Hudson.
yeah, it's like that's a pretty good line. Um, I I like that. I wrote here Ripley and Newt get punished for sleeping, because that's like the thing you don't do in a horror movie. Um,
Hmm?
I like that this sort of seals the deal for Ripley that Paul Reiser is definitely the bad guy. Is not only has she really learned the plan, which is the plan from the first movie, which certainly went well that time. Um,
And Riser sent the colonists to that location.
Yep. Yeah, he was just like, I didn't want all the red tape, What if nothing was there? Wink. And it's just like,
Mhm.
sure, sure thing, big guy. I like that he sabotages and like tries to ambush Ripley and Newt here, and tries to. I thought he was trying to get rid of them until Ripley later is like, no, here's his plan. He's gonna get eggs laid in us, freeze all of us up, send us over to Earth. And I was just like, oh, all right, that's actually a pretty solid bad guy plan, but also
Yup.
it's a very bad guy plan.
Yup.
Paul Reiser being the bad guy, jeez. Um,
Because after all, the Marines who make it back, well, there'll just be some form of accident with their pods.
yeah, she said he'll just jettison them, and me and Newt will be the only survivors. No big deal.
Yeah.
I do like that it is yet again the company being more interested in securing IP than rather than keeping anybody alive.
Yeah. Who would have known? Corporations not
Yeah,
out for us.
yeah. Who would have known? Capitalism. Whoops. I think the shot in the med bay as they're trying to fight off the facehugger is really great. That Ripley is fighting it, Newt is over there screaming, and there's another one. That was a moment where like it pops up, and I'm just like, no, like,
Oh, Newt scream as well. Like, give that
oh
girl some
yeah,
credit. Like, that scream is insane.
yeah, yeah. I just like that's a really great scene where like there's two of them. Newt is holding him off. Ripley sets off the fire alarm to get everybody over there. Like it's a really good. It's like the final straw for Ripley, where it's like, okay, you tried to kill me and this poor dirty child. Come on, man. Like,
I
what are you
love
doing?
their relationship, by the way.
It's
Sigourney's
very good.
Carrie Hines. It's so good.
Yeah. And then, of course, power goes out. And with one of the great lines where it's like, maybe they turned the power off. And I think it was Hudson that's like, they turned the power off? They're just animals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So good.
Whoops, everybody dies in the dark. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, the plant is gonna explode. See that
Yeah.
venting?
Yeah,
That's
no
not
big
good.
deal. Yeah. It's
How
listen,
squeamish did you get for Bishop's tunnel scene?
that was one of those where it's like, I didn't mind it too much until there was the one shot of like over his shoulder where the tunnel just goes on forever, and I was like, he's dead. Goodbye. See you, Bishop. There's gonna be a face hugger or an alien all the way at the other end of that. You're just see you later, big guy. Sorry.
That scene gets me because that pipe is so tight. Like
It's like the size of him, and I'm just like,
it's like okay, and now you're welding it shut behind him. Cool.
yeah.
Cool.
I liked that welding moment because I feel like it's one of the first moments where it feels like they finally figured out like we can't underestimate these things. This is an opening. We need to seal it. Like it's them finally figuring it out. Yeah, they fight off a bunch of aliens. They're running away. They're trying to. Bishop is like, yeah, I'm starting.
Broom, man. It's in the room.
Yeah, like that was a really great like. It's one of those things where it's like it's good for ratcheting up the tension, but it's also like could anyone look above you maybe? And just that shot of him like sweeping the flashlight, and there's like 10 of them up there. It's just like cool, good, cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, great.
Because that's not creepy at all either. Like that shot with them all like crawling in that space
Like
towards you.
Again, silently. It's just like, oh god. And of course, like Burke, I think is Paul Reiser's character's name. He has like a giant baby capitalist chicken has run away and sealed himself in a like 2 other rooms. And I like that pretty much everybody dies. They start running through the air vents and the crawl spaces trying to get away, and Nuta's like, yeah man, I know how to get around here. I'll lead you around. Of course that doesn't work out super well for Burke because she like falls down like a fan to some watery underground sewer area.
Yeah, well, Burke goes his own way and then locks the doors behind him.
Yeah.
And then he gets inner-mouthed, we'll call it.
Yeah, tiny-mouthed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is gross and wonderful.
Yeah,
and
so
then,
good.
She ends up, when Vasquez and Gorman set off the grenade.
That's a really great scene where it's just like, all right, we definitely don't want... I like that there's this like immediate agreement of like, cool, we've seen what this thing does to people that are alive. I have a grenade. You've always been an a-hole. Boom.
Yeah.
It's just like...
And this is actually the bit I was talking about when I read the screenplay section for this specific scene, the grenade scene.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the way they do the holding the hands on the grenade, like they do one, then the other, then the other, then the other, which is the exact same handshake that Vasquez gives Drake at the beginning. It gives him legitimacy as a Marine that he didn't have before that moment.
Interesting. Okay. I didn't put that 2 and 2 together. All right. Time to watch Aliens again. All right.
Until I read that.
That's great. That's cool. Yeah, Newt falls down in like a watery sewer area. She gets hunted and then kidnapped by a xenomorph, and then Ripley just goes ham. Ripley's like, all right, cool. You can do a lot of things to all these muscly dummies that are around me. I'm going to go save this kid. It definitely has nothing to do with my kid dying. I'm going to go save this kid. It's just like, okay, cool.
Because, they're heading to the airfield because Bishop has actually got the landing craft to come down.
Yeah, Bishop is like ready to... He's ready to extract here. Like, we're good to go, man.
And Hicks is injured.
Yep.
Dwayne, I should say.
Yes, Dwayne. Don't be long, Rip. Don't be long, Ellen. It's just like, yep, that's
Yeah.
a good line. Good, 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 good.
Like they go, and I love this gearing up montage.
It's
Like,
it's it's really good. I love a really good gearing up montage, and just like sort of capping it off with her flicking the switch on the flamethrower, and there, Moon for the video version has Ripley uh, gearing up here. I love her like flicking that switch on the flamethrower and just the blue fire just poof, coming out. And it's like,
yeah,
yep, great. That's good.
and
That's
the
a good
fact that
shot.
she tapes it to the carbine, and she
Mm-hmm.
has the flips and the tracker, and she's just like, I'm done with this S. Like, I am
Yep.
so done.
I'm
Like,
going and getting this kid, and I'm going to bring her back. Um,
uh-huh.
and I like that she sort of slowly but surely makes her way down to the alien rib tunnels. Um,
Yep.
finds Newt because she screams because one of those eggs bursts open again, and then a gross face hugger comes right out of that thing. Just like never isn't gross. Just it's so good. Like the noises and how that thing folds open and just like um
The
uh
skittering of the claws of the
yeah,
legs
like
is always the thing
the
that I love.
skittering. Oof. I really like that um the facehugger and the sort of like adult xenomorphs get to move a lot more. Some of the adult xenomorphs running, so there are some shots of it where it's like, that's you could have that not great. But like in a way that it's like this suit is really big, and maybe this puppet is really big, so you can sort of
Uh-huh.
understand it. Um, there's a really great. Okay, so first off, the queen looks dope. Like that,
Yeah, I was
this
gonna say
this
we can
giant
probably
like
call Xenomorphs drones now, by the way, because now we've met the Queen.
yeah, like this giant like head fin thing that looks 2 stories tall, super cool looking. That was like when you see like the gross egg butt of the queen, I'm sort of like, okay, so like what's the front part of this gonna look like? Like, is it just gonna be like this gross white mass? It's just like, no, it's a xenomorph, just super sick looking. It's like, okay,
And super huge with like 4 arms. It's like the Goro of
it's
Xenomorphs.
it's so cool. Like it's just
So big. Like
it's
she's
so
so
cool looking.
huge.
Yeah, and I really like I really, really, really like this whole scene with Ripley recovering Newt and her shooting the flamethrower like above the eggs and then just holding it to an egg and just being like, "What are you gonna do? What's
Uh-huh.
the ball's in your court?" And she sort of calls
And then,
off like,
like the drones, yeah, like she just
"Yeah,
looks at
she
them and then
yeah she
back
calls
away
off
down.
the hunter drones." And the thing that I think speaks so much to Ripley as a character is the exact thing I was hoping she would do, which is like get herself almost all the way out and destroy everything. Where it's like, cool, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I'm just going to leave in peace. No, I'm not. You're still a xenomorph. Go to hell. And I just love that
Mhm.
she just wrecks, like, just carbine shots, flamethrower, grenades, like everything
Yep.
she has destroys this whole
Come
thing.
this far, show me everything.
Yep. It's so good. And I it's like I really like that as Ripley, and then I really like that like the next shot or maybe like 2 shots after that is the queen just being like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna like pull myself off of the gross egg butt. Now I'm gonna get you. It's just like, okay,
Yep.
I definitely was not expecting
You made
that.
this person.
Yeah, like I wasn't expecting there to be some sort of mobile form, and I thought that was really great because Ripley's just like, all right, we're safe. We're gonna go back to the elevator. Oh no, the Queen knows how to use elevators. It's like, of course it does. Great, this is good. I like this a lot.
I I love like the elevator going up and her getting to the escape gantry and
Mm-hmm.
like cursing out Bishop,
Yep.
and then you hear the elevator go ding, and you're just like, wait, what?
I love when it opens and it's just dark and like there's this moment of likely Ripley thinking, "Oh, well it just automatically came up, no big deal." And then it just like creeps out of the darkness and it's like, "Oh no. Oh god." And I like that her response is like, Newt, don't look. And it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, she knows the two of them are gonna die. And like the
Yep.
bishop is like, yeah, no, I'm here. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Get in the thing.
Sick ass piloting. Like, here's
Yep.
the escape ramp right next to where you are. Let's go now, please.
Yeah, just get in the thing. We're going for real. Like this isn't. And of course, the queen sort of hijacks on the ship, which we don't find out until the queen rips Bishop in half.
Uh-huh.
Oh my! This was my like Ian Holm gets his head knocked off scene, where it's just like
Because the
nobody.
best thing is, it's did good Bishop for a machine, and it's like this
Right.
mutual respect moment between Bishop and Ripley.
And like, and you know it's coming because nobody gets to win in this series, including Ripley. So like, the idea that like there's a begrudging respect, and just seeing the tail come straight through his chest, I'm like, yeah, there it is. And then she rips him in half, and it's like, boo, oh gosh,
That is
okay,
a really good scale showing right there, because it's
yes,
just like, yeah, she's big. She's a
and
big bug.
and really great special effects of half of Bishop still doing things somehow as it's like rolling across the floor. There's some really great special effects there. Like you could tell, like Ian Holm in the first one, he's sitting under that table. Like there's a bunch of stuff, covering up the hole in that table. I'm like watching Bishop talk and move as the top half of his torso is rolling around, and I'm like, okay, that's a pretty good effect here, James Cameron.
So here's a fun one for you. In a later scene, which we'll get to shortly, when Bishop saves Newt, as Newt is getting sucked towards the thing. If you go and look at that shot, you can see the hole he's in. Like he literally pulls up the skin that's on the edge, and you can see the hole that he's in.
Oh,
but
interesting.
Nobody's looking at it because everybody's eyes are tracking Newt going upwards.
Exactly.
Not
Yeah.
looking at him on the right.
Interesting.
It's so visible. It's so clear as day, but nobody notices it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a really great scene. Like the queen is there. Ripley appears to run away, which obviously she's not doing.
I like the fact that she tells Newt to run.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, hey, over here.
Right. Hey, it's me. Hello. Yeah. And then of course she goes to get the power loader and decides to punch-size an alien queen's face, which is
the famous line again, get away from her, you bee.
Yep. It's like the delivery on that line, whew, that's real good.
Sigourney Weaver, again, nothing but
super good the whole movie. And then of course they eventually eject the queen. They space the queen down a hole that is really cool looking on the inside. Like that's a cool spaceship hole. Like
the loading bay.
Yeah, really, really liking that. Nice callback to the beginning of, hey, close that loading bay. And Newt calling Ripley mommy at the end is like a little bit heartbreaking after everybody's saved. And then sort of mirroring the closing of the first one is just like, yeah, I think you can probably dream this time, and they climb in the sort of sleepy pods, and that's credits. Like surely nothing else will happen that will be bad after this one. Surely this is the end of Ripley's saga.
100%.
Nothing bad will happen here for sure. I'm
gonna guess you prefer the first one.
100%. Like way more. So the tough thing about this one is I think this movie is a classic just as much as the first one is. And I think I appreciate the sort of outright horror sensibilities of the first one, where it's like this unknown thing is hunting you specifically in this very small space. Mm-hmm. I think the second one is a really good like horror action movie. And I think both sides are done really well. Like they are getting hunted by an overwhelming number of these things that will kill them with no escape. I think that's done really well. I think it's incredibly shot. Like we said, Newt and uh, Sigourney Weaver kill it in this movie. I don't think there's a bad actor in this movie. Even Paul Reiser is pretty great the whole
So
way
good as the
through.
creepy guy.
Yeah, he's like as the sliminess sort of continues to come out. Um, I think Aliens is a really solid movie. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, well, I'm never gonna watch this again because Alien is the better one. I think it's a really well done, super well acted. Like I don't think we've talked about it a couple of times. I don't think we can understate how cool a lot of the special effects are. Like that's one of the things that you sort of now see a James Cameron movie for, which is like, how did you do that? Like how did that? Oh, that's practical. What the hell? Um,
Yep.
I feel like that's what you see that stuff for, and the world building is great. Kind of taking the aliens to the next step, where someone's like, "Oh, don't you think there's like bees? Do you think there's like a queen?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, he's probably right. Like, yeah, that's probably some gross thing." Um,
Well, and also, it's a good like it builds on the world so much without
mhm.
giving answers. Again, something that we praised about the first movie. Like,
Yes,
okay, now we know there can be multiples. Now we know there's nests and a queen. And is this a case of insect hives where the larger the hive is, the more intelligent the beasts are?
right, right,
Like,
yeah.
is this one of those things? Like, it adds so many more details and never answers most of the questions, and I love it.
It's really good. Yeah, I liked Aliens a lot. I do I do very very much uh, prefer the first one, but I that in no way means that this one is bad. It's just it is it's a different movie kind of at its core, and I think that's if you compare the two, my preference would definitely be the first one. But man, this is a hell of a movie. Goodness,
Uh-huh.
man.
I love it. I love this so much. Like, honestly, I think the reason I prefer this one is probably because I prefer the actiony thing, but
Hmm.
also because, to be honest, I think Sigourney Weaver gets to actually act in this movie,
Yeah, she gets a
and
lot more to work with in this one. Yeah.
she is so good.
Hmm.
Like, like most of the Marines, most of the people in this, their acting is all fantastic. Like, I didn't know this, but apparently Apone was actually the first ever black person promoted to a sergeant in the U.S. military,
Oh wow, that's crazy.
which he got in Vietnam.
Oh wow,
So
that's cool.
that makes sense why you know, why he pulls off Sergeant of the Marines so well.
Right. Not
Uh,
really acting that much. Yeah.
yeah, but like I think everyone knocks it out the park, and Lance Henriksen, he gets that role and he
Yep.
makes it his own. Like
Yep. He figured
when
that role
people
out.
talk, yeah, when people talk about androids in the Alien universe, they talk about Bishop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
It's really.
probably because Bishop is the good guy android.
Yeah. The Ian Holm did a good job as a weird android in the first movie, but the ending wasn't good for him. Yeah.
But yeah, like so many of the names in this, and like Carrie Ann Newt, like literally the only acting she ever did was this movie.
Oh wow,
Uh, she later went on to become a teacher, I believe.
that's cool.
When they did the quadrilogy box sets,
Hmm.
she actually came back and did a commentary for it with a bunch of
Oh
other
cool.
actors.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love this movie.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's also one of those two where you look at it and you see Cameron coming off of Terminator, and sort of saying like, "All right, you did this, you did that," and like obviously sort of discounting some of the stuff he'd do in the future. It'd be like, "Boy, this sure is a rising star here." That James Cameron, like, sort of knocking out some cool sort of sci-fi action stuff. And I think you can look at this and say like, "Yeah, this is why Cameron was good at what he did at this time."
Mhm. Like,
Yeah.
and the shocking thing to me is it does not show at all the issues he had with the crew.
Yeah.
Like, it's not apparent in the movie that this was a troublesome movie to make. Like
Yeah.
there was a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Pinewood, was it Pinewood Studios? I think it was
I think
Pinewood.
that sounds familiar. Yeah.
Like he hated the crew because they were all union workers, and they hated him because he was this indie guerrilla American filmmaker.
Right.
Like, spoiler alert, he was one of these American filmmakers who were just like, go, 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 do whatever it takes to get, the shot. Work
Yeah.
96 hours straight if you have to.
Right.
Speaking of capitalism.
Yeah. Yeah, the British are going to be like, no, thank you.
Uh-huh. Especially when they're unionized.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love this movie so much. I genuinely do. Don't get me wrong. I think Alien is a better movie.
Okay.
Just think it is. I think conceptually, execution-wise, Alien is a perfect 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
arguably,
100%.
This is also a perfect 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Alien is made better. I prefer this one.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think for me, like, if Alien is a perfect 10 out of 10, this is like a 9.9. Like, it's so close to how good Alien was, that it's just a great movie. It's one of those where it's just like, yeah, I don't have a problem with anything here. Like, it's just an incredible thing that I think compared to the first one, like we talked about sort of last episode and the first half of this episode, this is the one where all the references come from. Like, it's just line after line, scene after scene of just, oh, there it is. Oh, there's that one. Okay, this is, all right, gotcha. That, I saw that in Bob's Burgers, sure. Gotcha, cool.
Yeah. Oh, crap, yeah, I forgot they did reference this in Bob's Burgers, didn't they?
Yeah, there was a great body switching Alan Ripley, Alien Queen kids play that was a really good one. Yeah, and boy, we got 2 more movies after this.
And I will forewarn you now.
The precipitous drop off.
Yes.
Yeah.
We just stopped the car as we're about to go off the cliff.
Yeah.
And next week we're gonna hit the gas.
Yeah. So for anyone listening to these as we come out, we're gonna watch the assembly cut of Alien 3. We'll mention that again for next episode. Also known as the special edition in some versions, but we're for pretty obvious reasons, we're not going to be watching the theatrical cut. And we'll see everybody next episode for the second half of these movies. Bye.
Bye.